All right, welcome back to another After Dark, everyone. Hope you all are having a good night so far. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. I wanted to check out this new video from Woo Hoops. Yeah, I know, I'm reacting to a lot of his videos, you guys, but I don't know, man. He hasn't disappointed me yet. And this one, I don't know about this, so I'm actually really excited about it. The title of the video is How Starbucks Cost Seattle Their NBA Team. Now, I know Seattle's where Starbucks got their start. That's also where, what do I want to call it? Like the Silicon Valley tech boom happened and everything like that. But I'm curious on how Starbucks had anything to do with the Seattle Supersonics and the sale of the team and all that stuff. So I'm really in the dark on this, and I guess it's time to learn. Time to get educated, Mindcrime. Anyways, as I always do, I'm going to link the original video down below in the description. I highly recommend Woo Hoops' channel. Great videos every single time, good quality, but I don't need to say it. You'll see it here in a second. But yeah, the link is down below. Also, you'll see a list of channel members. Shout out channel members. You guys are freaking awesome, and I appreciate the heck out of you. Guys, without further ado, let's get into it. Like the video, I'd appreciate it, and let's go.
The date is June 16th, 2008. The Seattle Supersonics owner Clay Bennett is in court right now.
You see, when Bennett bought the team, he made a promise, both verbally and legally.
He would do everything in his power to keep the Sonics in Seattle.
It is our desire to have the Sonics and Storm remain in Seattle.
Upon the discovery phase of this mysterious trial, Clay Bennett's emails will become public, revealing just how far he would go.
Yo, sorry to interrupt him. That's a cool shirt. That's really cool right there.
Make his promise a reality. I'm a man possessed. We'll do everything we can.
I am a man possessed. I am only beginning. I will do everything I can to get this done in Seattle.
Okay.
There was just one problem, though. The email he was replying to read, "Is there any way we can move here to OKC for next season, or are we doomed to have another lame duck season in Seattle?"
That's right. Clay Bennett is in court right now because he's being sued by the city of Seattle for stealing the Sonics.
Wow.
To understand
Could you imagine being sued by a city? By the way, if you guys have been to Seattle anytime recently, I just happened to be there earlier this year for the first time in my life. That is a city that needs a basketball team. It's wild that they don't have one out there. Like it's perfect. It seems perfect for it.
How we got here. We must go all the way back to the 60s. In 1967, a new NBA team will be born. Its name, the Seattle Supersonics. Why that name? Well, in the 60s, Seattle was mainly known for its ties with the aviation industry, in particular with Boeing, who at the time had just secured a government contract to build America's first supersonic airline, a passenger jet that would travel faster than the speed of sound. But there was one major concern, the noise. Supersonic travel creates a loud shockwave called a sonic boom, and no one knew how
Sonic boom!
A typical American city would react to hearing that day after day. Thus, in 1964, the FAA launched an experiment to bombard a city with sonic booms to see how civilians would react. The city that was chosen? Oklahoma City. OKC in 1964 was a city that was only 75 years old. Known mainly for the infamous land rush, the city was desperate to establish itself and grow as a metropolis. Over the following 6 months, over 1,200 sonic booms were unleashed over the skies of OKC.
Wow.
The results of the test would prove disastrous. People were furious, windows were broken.
Whoa. Wow. It's like a little earthquake.
The experiment will be stopped early, and by 1971, the Boeing project will be scrapped completely. For Seattle's economy, this will be equally disastrous. Now known as the Boeing bust, Seattle will go into a recession with unemployment rate hitting 14%, while the national average was 4.5%.
Wow, Boeing is having some issues again.
This will lead to a tongue-in-cheek billboard put outside of the airport in 1971 that read, "Will the last person to leave Seattle turn out the lights?" However, as one industry will bust in 1971, another will be born. On March 30th, 1971, Starbucks would open its first store in Seattle.
Whoa, 71? I did not know Starbucks was around that long. At least here in Arizona, I don't recall a Starbucks being around until, I don't know, I think like after I was out of high school. Like I'm talking like maybe like 2000, that range. I don't think we had Starbucks out here before that.
Despite it being originally just a local coffee bean retailer for the first decade, future Starbucks owner Howard Schultz will go on a trip to Milan, Italy in 1983. There, he would find the inspiration to transform coffee culture in America.
And I'm watching the ritual of coffee, the sense of community. I go in, I taste the coffee. And at that time, Starbucks had only been selling coffee for the home. And I'm thinking, wow, the opportunity is not for the home, the opportunity is in the store.
In the decades to come, Howard Schultz would grow Starbucks into a global brand. So much so that by 2001, he would have enough resources to own an NBA team. The team that he bought, the Seattle Supersonics.
Now, I didn't have enough money at the time to buy the team myself, and there was a competing group, and so we merged our efforts. We didn't really know each other, and a lot of people came together, so we had like 50 investors.
Wow.
2 separate groups. I was the majority owner of the 2 groups, but I did not have 51%.
The Sonics in 2001 was in a peculiar position. After a strong era of being contenders in the West, the team was angling towards a rebuild. Schultz and team star Gary Payton clashed right away.
Howard is a con man. And I think what he did wrong was he tried to run an organization of basketball like a coffee business. It doesn't work that way.
Gary Payton was an extraordinary player, but he and I just didn't kind of see the world the same way and made a trade at that time for Ray Allen, which was great for the team.
Building under Allen, the team would thrive again. In the 2005 playoffs, the Sonics would enter as the 3rd seed in the West.
4 years ago, the man who started Starbucks Coffee, Howard Schultz, paid $200 million. A very avid fan, attends all the games, very animated here on the sideline.
The Sonics would make it to the 2nd round before falling to the eventual champs Spurs in 6 games after this Tim Duncan game winner.
Nice play. Nice clutch play.
3 months
By the way, we're 5 minutes in. I've already learned so much about the situation.
after the Sonics were eliminated, comes one of the worst natural disasters in U.S. history, Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
One of the worst natural disasters in modern day history forced the Hornets out of New Orleans with only 2 months to go before the start of this NBA season.
The city that came to the rescue? Oklahoma City. The timing for OKC could have been more perfect. After the sonic boom disaster of 1964, the city never gave up its ambitions to become a world-class metropolis. In OKC, the airport is named the Will Rogers World Airport, despite the city not having any international flights. In 2002, OKC opened up a state-of-the-art arena, despite not having any premier professional sports teams.
What the heck? Who does that?
But it was this ambition and preparation that landed them the Hornets in 2005. Even if only temporary, the team would become an instant success, even more loved than in their original city. OKC had gotten a taste of the NBA. Now they wanted to keep it.
And won.
Rumblings began to tremor about the possibilities of a sale of the Hornets to OKC.
I don't mind them sharing them, but owning them, that's where I have a problem. We want them back home. They can share them, but they cannot keep them. It's on loan. They're borrowing them.
New Orleans owner George Shinn was adamant that he was not selling. OKC needed another route. And all of this was being spearheaded by a businessman who was critical in making the OKC Hornets happen in the first place. His name is Clay Bennett. Bennett would become part of an OKC group focused on bringing the city a new team. They would wait patiently for their opportunity. After Seattle's playoff run, one would expect Howard Schultz to be electric, but that was not the case. Behind the scenes, Schultz was losing millions every year.
The reason?
Wow.
Well, Key Arena was the smallest arena in the NBA.
As the league salaries for players went up, the arena capacity and lack of luxury suites and shopping caused the Sonics to operate at a deficit.
It also didn't help that the Sonics had the quote-unquote worst arena lease in the entire league.
For his first option, Schultz would go to the city of Seattle directly to negotiate a new lease at a lower cost.
Despite the fact that we tried with the city council and the mayor, it was obvious that the city, after building a football stadium and a baseball stadium, the political powers at the time were not interested in doing anything to help try and renegotiate the lease or do anything to help us.
Just like in the 80s.
What's interesting to me is now, okay, I'm not all I'm factual on this stuff, but I'm gonna shoot to shiznit for a second here. When I was there earlier this year, they've got a hell of a hockey culture out there. Okay, I can't remember. Right now, I can't remember the name of the team. Okay, I'm not a huge hockey fan. But me and a friend, we were going to the Space Needle, right? And that's like the center of the city, basically. It's like one of the main draws, if not the main draw, is that whole area. Is an awesome area to hang out in, by the way. If you're ever going to go to the Space Needle, spend a day at the Space Needle, not in the Space Needle, but around the Space Needle, and then end it at night up the Space Needle. Great day. But the point I bring all this up is because they mentioned that the old arena that the Supersonics were playing in was one of the oldest and smallest. Well, I think that they could probably piggyback off of that arena that they did for the hockey team out there, and I don't know, man. They're the Kraken, like I think they're called the Seattle Kraken or something like that. But anyways, now that kind of solves that problem, right? I think Seattle's ready for a basketball team again.
This would cause Schultz.
And by the way, when I was there, the only reason I knew about this was there was a game that was about to happen, a hockey game, and people were just all over the place wearing hockey gear. And like, if their team name isn't the Kraken, I'd be surprised because every shirt I can remember off the top of my head said "Release the Kraken." So, but yeah. Anyways, I bring all that up because, yeah, man, play in there, do it.
Have another realization. Key Arena needed to be remodeled. Yes, of course, this wasn't as good as the Starbucks realization, but it nonetheless would change the city's history forever. From Schultz's perspective, both the Mariners and the Seahawks just got public funding from the state. Now it's the NBA's turn. He would head to Olympia, Washington to plead his case in front of the legislature's House Ways and Means Committee.
Now, this ownership group did not get involved to make a profit, but I can assure you we did not get involved to lose $60 million and with no light at the end of the tunnel either.
With him for credibility,
Fair.
Commissioner David Stern.
Substantial amount of work has been done for the baseball and football teams, and I'm here personally to find out whether the same is being considered fairly for the NBA.
We are on a collision course with time, and we have no alternative on a go-forward basis if we can't solve the problem in front of us.
What both Schultz and Stern didn't expect was what came after. House Speaker Frank Chop will be quoted as saying, "The NBA ought to get their own financial house in order when their payroll is over $50 million. For what is it, 10 players? I think that's a little ridiculous. They need to get their own financial house in order, and if they did, they wouldn't have to ask for public help."
Okay, that might be the most based thing I've ever read in my life. And some of you guys might be mad. The thing is, I didn't want the Seattle Supersonics to leave Seattle. I didn't want that to happen. But yeah, I mean, we're dealing with this type of money, this type of business. You should have your finances in order if you want to expand, because that's really what it is Seattle wants a bigger arena or stadium, whatever, to expand, to grow. And any other business, if they wanted to expand and grow, it's not up to the state to give you money in order to do so. It's up to you as a business to become successful enough to expand. You expand based off of the demand. So I mean, I understand what this is, and could you imagine nowadays when the payroll is? I mean, this is what $50 million is what like a 42-year-old washed up player is making these days. You know, like they'd shit a freaking brick if they saw the current payroll and they were asking for money from the state. Be like, no, man, the state has other problems.
I'm guessing that neither David Stern or Howard Schultz had ever been treated the way that Frank Chop and the legislature treated them.
Seattle City Councilman Nick Licata would even go on the record telling Sports Illustrated that the Sonics had close to zero economic or cultural impact to the city of Seattle.
Ouch.
It had to be mind-blowing for them to be treated so poorly.
From the state perspective, Key Arena was just subsidized for a remodel 11 years prior. That, by the way, David Stern...
Okay, to be fair though, why were they granting money for the other sports? So, you know what, that becomes a little hypocritical. If they had that stance with all professional sports, that's one thing. But if they're just isolating out basketball and saying like, yeah, you guys, like, we don't care if you're around, basically, that's the messaging there. So that part's not cool. But honestly, I feel this way just across the board in all business. You can't start a business without a little bit of money. And if you want to expand your business, you better be profitable and making money in order to expand. That's just how I feel about basic economics. But yeah, this is showing sports favoritism from the state, which is weird in itself.
Not have a problem with at the time.
They got a beautiful building. It's intimate, the sight lines are great, the decorations are terrific. I think Seattle should be very proud of what's going on here tonight.
Furthermore, this proposed renovation would be mainly used to add luxury suites. It wouldn't affect the working class audience. In essence, the general public is being asked to fund luxury suites for the ultra-rich from the ultra-rich after you had just backed them 11 years prior. David Stern was humiliated that day, an offense he did not take lightly. For Schultz, this also led him to the inevitable...
Wait, I didn't quite understand that section.
Luxury suites.
Hold on. So I apologize.
Proposed renovation would be mainly used to add luxury suites. It wouldn't affect the working class audience. In essence, the general public is being asked to fund luxury suites for the ultra-rich from the ultra-rich after you had just backed them 11 years prior. David Stern was
okay, so they only expanded for the rich seats. They didn't expand for the regular people. Yeah, okay.
Humiliated that day.
I don't like that.
He did not take lightly.
Yeah.
For Schultz, this also led him to the inevitable conclusion.
So I decided, in the best interest of me and my investors, why don't we sell it to the other group? Mm-hmm. And the other group did not want to buy it.
Primarily because we were losing so much money.
But then I went out to everyone in Seattle that I thought had the means to buy the team, and no one showed up. Then we had a high-profile investor from Silicon Valley come,
who flat out blatantly said, I will pay the highest price, but I'm going to move the team to San Jose. And so we rejected that. We said no. Then
David Stern was the commissioner at the time, and he said, I think I have a prospective owner who's willing to negotiate with the city of Seattle. But if he can't get a deal, he might move the team. But I can't imagine if the city of Seattle knows that someone from out of town is going to buy the team, they're going to negotiate with him.
Right.
That was the going-in assumption.
On July 18th, 2006, in a moment that caught everyone off guard, Howard Schultz would hold a press conference to announce that he was selling the Sonics to an ownership group from Oklahoma City.
Wow.
Led by Clay Bennett.
Oh, hello
Today,
there.
We stand before you filled with both great emotion and renewed hope and enthusiasm for professional basketball in the Northwest region. And I believe in my heart, as he has said to me and now to you, that he understands the public trust of Seattle and the Northwest and is going to try and do everything he can to keep the team here.
While on the surface, this looked like a genuine betrayal, but there was actually ample evidence that Clay Bennett had convinced Howard Schultz and Cole that he was keeping the team in Seattle.
1. Schultz had turned down a previous buyer who was open about their intentions to relocate the team. 2. Seattle had negotiated the deal through Ed Evans, who had ties with Seattle and didn't bring Bennett on board until later on.
We believed him. We had people who knew him, and he had some history here, and it made sense. And we're doing these late night phone calls. All of a sudden, the guy Clay Bennett's on the conference call.
3. Schultz had made Bennett sign an agreement that he would for 1 year make a good faith effort to improve Key Arena to keep the team in Seattle.
But then again, when you zoom out of it all, Howard Schultz was selling the team to someone from OKC who had just tried to buy the New Orleans Hornets while they were in a national tragedy.
Bennett would fulfill his commitment, developing a plan for a new arena in Renton, Washington.
Is that Lenny? That's Lenny Wilkins.
Fulfill his commitment, developing a plan for a new arena in Renton, Washington. Like Schultz, he would go to Olympia and ask for even more money than Schultz had the year prior. He would get laughed out the building.
The franchise will not remain in this marketplace without a new arena facility. If a commitment for a new building is not realized, then we will evaluate our options, which will include relocation.
On October 31st, 2007, Clay Bennett would notify David Stern that he would be relocating the Sonics to Oklahoma City.
We've had a team in Seattle for over 40 years. It's been a great city. It seems almost tragic that as a matter of timing, the people who were in power turned against the team.
However,
You know, the hockey team here in Arizona just went through something very similar. I have some friends who are really into hockey that could explain it a lot better than I can. But yeah, the team got bought out and then relocated. I believe for similar reasons. We were supposed to build a new place for them to play, but they weren't really making much money here. So, yeah, they moved out of the city. I can't remember what state they're in anymore, but I do know for whatever reason, part of the deal was we can't have a new hockey team here for 5 full years. And it's been about a year, I believe, since the sale. So another 4 years, we can't have a professional hockey team here, which is a weird stipulation.
All hope was lost as Steve Ballmer would step in the final hour to save the day.
Steve Ballmer and some other local Seattle businessmen came forward with a plan to renovate Key Arena, a $300 million plan where they were going to donate $150 million to the city of Seattle to renovate Key Arena. The city of Seattle guaranteed the other $75 million, and all we needed was $75 million authorized by the state legislature to give King County the power to do that. And
I'm disappointed to announce today that we are unable to meet the April 10th deadline for securing the full public investment in Key Arena.
Without a plan in time to renovate Key Arena, the NBA owners would vote 28-2 in favor of approving the relocation.
Wow.
But the city of Seattle still had one last trick up their sleeve.
You see, the city of Seattle had leased Key Arena to the Sonics until the 2010 season.
And they intend for Clay Bennett to honor that agreement, thus suing Clay Bennett. This was not a fight for money, they say. It's a fight for the culture and for the people. During trial, when Clay Bennett's public emails were released and subsequently went viral, Seattle had their smoking gun.
Could it be the smoking gun that helps keep the Sonics in Seattle? Emails last April between Clay Bennett and the team's other co-owners suggest that the plan was to move the team to Oklahoma City all along.
In an email from co-owner Aubrey McClendon to Clay Bennett right after the purchase, he would title the email, "The Oklahoma City Sonic Boom, baby." And it didn't just end there. McClendon would then go on the record in a statement to the Journal Record in Oklahoma, saying, quote, "But we didn't buy the team to keep it in Seattle. We hope to come here." The NBA was, of course...
What was the rest of that? We know it's a little more difficult financially here in Oklahoma City, but we think it's great for the community, and if we could break even, we'd be thrilled. Wow. So it wasn't even just about money at that point. They really wanted a professional basketball team in OKC.
Didn't buy the team to keep it in Seattle. We hope to come here. The NBA was of course livid with this quote, fining McClendon $250K for the comments. Clay Bennett would also defend his intentions by sending this email to Commissioner David Stern. "I'm concerned that you may feel I have betrayed your trust. I view you as a role model, a deep and compassionate thinker, and a person with a rare..."
Stop kissing ass. You lied to him. You got caught in a lie. Yeah, so he's going to feel like you betrayed his trust. Stop kissing his ass. It's not going to work. David Stern's old school, man. You were one of my favorite people on earth. A deep and compassionate thinker and a person with a rare and unique charisma that brings out the best in everyone you touch, giggity. Come on, you're one of my favorite people on earth. Please, David, don't be mad at me. Get out of here, dude.
And unique charisma that brings out the best in everyone you touch.
All right.
You are just one of my favorite people on earth. I would never breach your trust.
I love it when a guy breaches your trust and then immediately after would like, I would never lie to you. Get the hell out of here, man. Get out of here. I would never betray your trust. Oh, no way.
Absolutely remarkable as it may seem, Aubrey and I have never discussed moving the Sonics to Oklahoma City. And of course,
but the evidence is everywhere, Dumbo.
We can't forget about this infamous email exchange from the beginning of this video.
Is there any way to move OKC next season? Are we doomed? Yeah, that was in the intro. I'm a man possessed. Wait, let me check the dates. Same date. To from. Okay, so yeah, it's a direct response. I am a man possessed. We'll do everything we can. Thanks for hanging with me, boys. The game is getting started. All right.
Considering all of this evidence, I think it's pretty safe to assume that the city of Seattle had a pretty solid case.
And every new email that's uncovered is another dagger in Clay Bennett's plans.
If successful with the lawsuit, the Sonics will be forced to stay in Seattle until 2010. That would surely give the city ample time to figure out the key arena solution with Steve Ballmer. However, hours before the verdict came in, this happened.
Wait, Steve Ballmer, that's the same guy who owns the Clippers, right?
Back at 4 p.m. today, U.S. District Judge Marcia Peckman was expected to issue her decision about whether the Sonics would have to stay in Seattle for 2 more years. At 4, she released this statement, quote, "The parties have settled the case. Details of the settlement will be released by the parties."
Today, I am announcing a settlement with Mr. Bennett and the Professional Basketball Club. In exchange for terminating the lease 2 years early, Mr. Bennett has agreed to a settlement package with a payment of up to $75 million to the city of Seattle.
What?
The city of Seattle will settle with Clay Bennett for...
What? So the government kept the money? Like, the government gets the money, but the fans lose their team? That doesn't feel right.
$75 million. The Sonics will
if they did like a stimulus or something and they distributed that 75 mil across the state, maybe that would be nice, but I'm willing to believe the government didn't do that.
Seattle immediately. Upon the $75 million owed to Seattle, $45 million was paid right away. The other $30 million will be paid upon the condition that Key Arena will be renovated by 2009.
Now the state legislature must act. If it fails to approve public funding next year to remodel Key Arena, we will lose our rights to that second $30 million.
In 2009, Seattle would lose their right to the second $30 million, as the state again rejected the proposal. 44 years after the sonic booms were unleashed over the skies of OKC, the city would finally get its revenge. And how fitting for the team to be named the Thunder. Despite a rocky first decade in OKC full of ups and downs that had people believe that OKC was cursed, in 2025, OKC will win their first ever championship.
Yep.
The same year, the city would open its first ever international flight. OKC is truly international. For David Stern,
and the irony also is Boeing made the majority of those planes that are going to be in those international flights, for better or worse.
His controversial tactics will clearly leave a deep impression on him. In 2011, he would name Bennett the head of the NBA's relocation committee. In 2018, the city of Seattle will finally approve a $700 million renovation to Key Arena. All of it privately funded. Now, this building, in some shape or form...
Wait, this is the place. This is the hockey place I was talking about. This is where the Kraken play. I was just here.
Has been here since the 1962 Expo. Its floors have been walked by legends of history. The city has now...
Wait, before he does his outro, I'm sorry. So they did renovate it.
The head of the NBA's relocation committee. In 2018, the city of Seattle will finally approve a $700 million renovation to Key Arena.
$700 million.
All of it privately funded.
Okay, because I was going to say it looked good from the outside when I was there. Ironically, Mr. Wu, I was there about half a year before you.
Now, this building, in some shape or form, has been here since the 1962 Expo. Its floors have been walked by legends of history. The city has now finally gotten their upgraded arena, equipped with all the modern amenities that Key Arena could have only dreamed of. Yet, their most beloved
there
tenant.
it is. There it is. It's a perfect spot, guys. There's so much to do in this area. I was having a great day, and yeah, we ended the day right up here, right up top, spinning around, having dinner, having a couple of drinks. It was a great day. But yeah, I did not go to that hockey game, obviously, but I was surprised because I had no idea where it was, and it was my first time being in any of these places, and I'm like, whoa, there's a hockey game going on right now? Like right here? This is where hockey is played? Like how cool. I was just walking around having a good old time. It's a great location. There's tons of people all over the place in that area.
To be found. The Coliseum has been rebuilt. All the city can do now is wait and wait for the day their gladiators come home.
Yeah, man, get the Sonics back in there.
Off the pick, looks at the clock, fires a three.
Great video, Danny. I learned so much watching other. You know it, man. You know it. You know it. I think I've watched all yours, though. That's the problem. I gotta wait. First of all, if you guys are not convinced to check out Woo's channel, it is what it is, but the link is down below in the description. I think he's doing fantastic work. Second, man, I know there's a huge push going on right now to get, because the expansion is coming really soon here, right? Within the next year or two, the league is expanding again. And I know Seattle, not only does it make sense because Seattle had a basketball team for, well, the majority of my lifetime, but also how much Seattle has expanded, how vast the population, how dense the population is becoming out there. Like it makes perfect sense to get them a basketball team again. The closest thing they have to that area is like the Portland Trail Blazers, you know. But I'm sorry, Seattle's doing a lot better than Portland, the last I saw. So it makes a lot more sense to have a team out there, I mean, in both cities, but definitely at least in Seattle. Now, will it be the Supersonics? I don't know how all that works in the business world of basketball. I don't know what you have to do to get the IP of the Supersonics again. I don't know who owns the Supersonics IP. I'm not sure how that goes. But I think it would be absolutely perfect if they were the Seattle Supersonics again. Get a cool new logo, cool new jerseys. The people would be ecstatic to have a team again. That all being said, I don't know if it'll ever happen. I hope it does. Also, we need a basketball team in Vegas, don't we? That's another place that we do need. Not gonna lie, I would go watch a basketball game in Las Vegas, and I would love every second of it. Except for the fact that it's probably gonna be a ridiculous price. So I might have to have a lucky day in Vegas before I can afford to do that. But anyways, you guys, what do you think? What do you think? Is Seattle going to get a team? Is it going to be the Sonics? And do you know how that works with the IP, the intellectual property of the Supersonics, and how to acquire that and all that good stuff? If you do, let me know in the comments. We'll have a conversation like we always do. Everybody, my voice is running out. I really enjoyed this video, and I'm really thankful for you guys watching with me. Like the vid, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and most importantly, to be water, my friends.